We're going to walk through one of the sample exam questions from the study guide. And I've got open the Platform App Builder study guide, also commonly referred to as the certification exam guide. You notice here this is for the Salesforce Certified Platform App Builder. I have the Winter 17 exam guide, and so there are 3 major releases each year by Salesforce, and they're winter, spring, and summer. And so this is the Winter 17 release that this certification exam guide is good for. So the exam guide, I've got that linked in the resources section of this lecture. But going through the contents here, the sample exam questions are ones that Salesforce makes publicly available. And so I wanted to talk through these at least. I don't want to share actual exam questions, but I want to share with you and walk you through these different questions so you get a flavor of the types of questions you'll be facing on the exam, and also to speak to how to understand what the right answer is, for instance, and how to approach questions, and even some of the nuances as far as how they word questions on the exam. And so scrolling down to the sample exam questions, there's 5 in this exam guide, and we're going to have individual lectures through this course related to each of these questions. Now, I'm not going to go in order on these questions because I want to cover these in a logical progression as far as what you're ready for. And so bear in mind that we've just walked through downloading apps off the AppExchange. It makes sense to look at the sample exam question now related to the AppExchange. So that would be exam question number 3, or sample exam question number 3 from the exam guide for the certification. So that reads, Universal Containers has limited in-house development resources, but would like to support online payment processing for its products. And so Universal Containers is a fictional company that Salesforce refers to a lot. It's a shipping company or a shipping container company, and it's a fictional company that they have for a lot of their scenario-based questions on their exams. So if you see Universal Containers, that is a fictional company that Salesforce is referring to, and it's scenario-based for these questions. In this particular question, and you see the answers, and I probably should go through those first before just coming right out and saying what the answer is, but here's one thing to really highlight. Choose one answer. So on the actual exam, you'll be prompted to select either 1, 2, or 3 answers. And so you've got to select the correct number of answers. So for instance, if 3 of the 4 answers are correct and they're saying choose 3 correct answers, if you only get 2 right and miss the third option, you'll miss the entire question. And so you don't get partial credit for questions. It's either a hit or a miss. It's either you got it or you didn't. So the potential answers here would be to configure price books, products, and payment schedules to enable this capability, and bearing in mind that they're looking to support online payment processing for their products, but they have limited in-house development resources. Option B would be to work with developers to develop custom code for payment processing. C would be configure outbound messaging to send a message to an external payment gateway. And then D is install an AppExchange product to provide payment gateway processing. And so really, as I think about these answers, all of them are feasibly correct. You could, if you so chose, configure price books, products, and payment schedules, and you would get well on your way towards providing online payment processing and supporting that for Universal Containers. You could as well then, for the programmatic side of things, for processing payments, you could work with developers to develop custom code for this payment processing. So these are both partially right. And then as well, you could configure an outbound message from Salesforce to send a message to an external payment gateway. That would be an external system. And we'll deal with outbound messaging more when we're talking about workflow actions specifically in this course. But that is another functionality to where you could send a message out of Salesforce and it would talk to another system, but it's not quite there. And then the fourth one is you could simply install an AppExchange product to provide payment gateway processing. And so what they're getting at here is that one of the core things as it relates to the AppExchange on the Platform App Builder Certification exam is they just want to know, and when I say they, I mean Salesforce, they want to know if you understand the use case for leveraging the AppExchange. And so I really want to highlight the key phrase here in this question is that Universal Containers has limited in-house development resources. So it's really easy as the clock is ticking down and you're taking the exam and you see something about supporting online payment processing, and that leads you to, oh my goodness, I've not dealt with online payment processing like ever. And then products, is that opportunity products, is that a custom product object? It's really easy to get distracted while you're taking the test and you're winding down on the time and you're not feeling so confident. So first of all, the first point when taking the exam is to chill. You've got to relax. You want to be well rested because you're going to be in that chair for an hour and a half and you've got to pass this thing, okay? And you can. But these are the ways that you end up shooting yourself in the foot while taking the exam. Is you start to panic, or you're going in not feeling well or not well rested, cramming too much information all night or something crazy. So the key here, and this is how a lot of these questions are worded, you've got to take a step back and look at it as a whole and not grow discouraged when all of these answers at first blush seem correct, because in a way they are. But when you take a step back and take a higher level view of the question and you see, oh, Universal Containers has limited in-house development resources, so they're not going to be able to do some of this. That really rules out a lot of these. And so I've seen flavors of this question related to not having a lot of time, or a combination of not having a lot of development resources and or being on a tight production schedule. And so it's some really large project or big undertaking and not a lot of time to do it. So the key here for this sample exam question is to hone in on the purpose of the AppExchange. And as a reminder, the AppExchange is the app store for the Salesforce platform, and that is to provide you with extensible applications and components to further customize your own Salesforce instance to save time and money. If you bear that in mind, you'll do fine as it relates to the AppExchange related question or questions on the exam for the Platform App Builder certification. And hopefully you take these helpful tips to heart as far as really taking a step back, relaxing, looking at the big picture for the question and looking for any nuances in the wording. And this is difficult sometimes, but really honing in on the key phrase. So next, I want to show you how to reset your security token. It's something that you're going to need later in this course. It is a helpful practice activity for you, and that will then round out this section for the Salesforce fundamentals.